this past Sunday, we celebrated the fourth Sunday of Lent, which is also known as Laetare Sunday. Laetare means rejoice. Now, it seems a little bit odd that in a season like Lent, where things seem to be kind of somber and serious, that we would have a Sunday dedicated completely to rejoicing. It seems a little crazy. But the thing is, we need to remember that the whole season of Lent, well, a lot of times we think it's leading up to Good Friday, this sad day of suffering. It's not leading up to Good Friday, it's leading up to the great rejoicing of Easter, and we need to remember that. This past Sunday is also the perfect time to remember what Jesus told us back in the beginning of Lent in the Gospels. He said, when you're praying, don't pray out in open and expect people to see you looking gloomy from fasting and all these things for you to get recognition for yourself. He wants you to do it for the sake of doing well for others and improving yourself and getting yourself towards heaven, and not to be miserable while doing these things, while fasting, while praying, while giving alms to the poor. He wants you to be joyful in doing this, and this is the perfect week to remember that as we're approaching quickly that time of Easter, that time of great rejoicing. So in the second reading on Sunday, the second reading came from the book of Ephesians, and it spoke about how we were darkness, but now we're going to be light. Not that we came from darkness or we were in darkness and now we're going to be in light, but that we were darkness itself and now we are going to be light itself. What the heck does that mean? That doesn't make any sense. When we think of what light usually represents in our faith, it usually represents all things good. Even in like hero stories, the darkness is usually the evil villains and the bad things, and then the light side is the good, right? Like in Star Wars. So Jesus is calling us to be the good things in this world, be the things that please him, goodness and kindness and love in the world, as opposed to being sin and suffering in the world. We need to bring a little bit more of Jesus and his light to the world through our very being and become light. And it ended that reading with this great quote that I love so much, it's kind of a catchphrase for me. It's also part of one of my favorite songs. It said, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light." What a great reminder for us during this Lenten season. Then that was followed directly by the gospel reading of Jesus healing the man who was blind from birth. And this goes perfectly again along with that theme of darkness and light that we heard about in the second reading. This man had been blind from birth, meaning that he couldn't do anything for work. He had no way of making money, so he just had to sit begging. He always sat in the same spot. Everybody saw him every day when they passed by him. Everybody in the temple knew who he was. They knew he'd been blind since birth. They just knew him as that beggar. And Jesus heals him just by smearing some dirt over his eyes and telling him to go wash it off in the pool of Siloam. That goes right along with our theme of darkness and light, because this man was in darkness his whole life. Literally darkness. He couldn't see anything. He was blind. And everybody knew that. And when he was healed and suddenly he could see and he was walking around the temple, even the Jews and the Pharisees were shocked by it. And they were questioning him. Who healed you? How did this happen? You've been blind since birth. How is this possible? And through all this questioning, this man comes to realize that the man who healed him, Jesus, is in fact the Son of Man, the Messiah, the promised one. And he comes to believe in him because of this. How often in our lives are we blinded and stuck in the darkness of sin, and we can't see the light by ourselves? We can't get there alone. We can't come to the light ourselves. We need Jesus to come and heal us of our darkness, our sin, just like he had to heal this blind man of his blindness, so that we can see the light, just as this man saw the light, and come to trust in him more and more. So this Lent, I challenge you this week, try to figure out what things in your life are blinding you, are putting you in darkness. Ask Jesus to heal you of those things and to bring you into the light as we come closer and closer to Easter. Have a beautiful week.